Do you ever feel like your emotions are controlling you and there's nothing that you can do about it? Well, if so, today we're going to talk about how to take control back over your life. We're going to help you understand how to take control back over your life. Do you ever feel like emotions are in control of your life and there's nothing that you can do about it? Well, if so, this video will help you take the control back of your life by understanding the meaning of what is an emotional trigger. By understanding what is an emotional trigger. Well, what is an emotional trigger, or what is a trigger? The term trigger is generally used for an event or a circumstance, a situation, something that happens that triggers or causes something else. So what would be an emotional trigger? Well, that would be some event, situation, circumstance that causes an emotion. And oftentimes in life, that is what creates that feeling of that our emotions are in control and we're out of control. Because it seems like there are things that happen to us in our life, and those things cause us to feel a certain emotion. And then when we feel an emotion, we react or respond in a certain way. If that belief is true, that those triggers, those things that happen, cause the emotion, then truly we are out of control and the emotions are in control of our life. And actually, it's not the emotions that are in control of our life, it's the triggers that are in control of our life. So if a trigger causes a certain emotion, and then we respond to that emotion in a certain way, then we are out of control. Because the things that happen around us in our life determine how we feel and what we do in response to that. How does that feel? I don't know about you, but I don't like that. I like being in control of my life, believing that I am in control of my life, not that external conditions or situations determine that. So this belief or this pattern of where it feels like external situations create our emotion is a false belief. Here's the thing about beliefs, is that the beliefs drive our behavior. Well, how important is it that our beliefs are based on truth? Well, it's very important, because if we believe something that is not true, we're going to behave in accordance with that belief, and we will not end up with the outcome that we want. For example, if I believe that, 3 plus 3 is 5, every time that I come up with that answer, I'm going to come up with the wrong answer because that belief is incorrect. 3 plus 3 is 6. If I believe that my emotions are caused by external conditions or situations, I am always going to be out of control. So let's just think about that belief for a minute. Do external conditions, situations, people, words, do those things control your emotion? Can anyone or anything make you be angry? Can anything or anyone make you be sad? Can anyone or anything hurt your feelings? Now, at first thought, you may say, well, yeah. But then if you really think about it, that's not true. Because have you ever been in a situation where you're angry and you've got people around you trying to get you out of that angry state? They're trying to make you happy, and it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't work. Or have you ever been in a situation where you've been in a really good mood and people are trying to irritate or annoy you, but they can't do it? The truth is, we are in control of our emotions. So it's not the event that creates that. It's our thoughts about that event or that trigger that creates our emotion. So something happens, we have a thought about it, and that creates the emotion. Now what happens though is, from a young age, we get conditioned to believe that external sources create our emotions. So when we're young, we hear things maybe from our parents or our siblings or from other people, or we see it on TV where somebody says, you make me angry, or you hurt my feelings, or you make me so sad, or you disappoint me. Think about those words. So it's saying that you are doing this to me, Now, most of the time we're on autopilot, which means that it's the subconscious part of our brain that is governing what we do. It's important to understand how the subconscious part of our brain works because it doesn't question things. So when we hear somebody saying to us, "You make me angry," our subconscious brain hears that and it just accepts it, doesn't question it, it just accepts it. Okay, so I made you angry. And then it looks for evidence to support it. So from a young age, we may get these phrases in our head of, "You make me angry, you hurt my feelings." We start saying things like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry that I made you sad. I'm sorry that I made you angry." So now those beliefs have gone into the subconscious, who accepts it and believes it, and it goes out and looks for evidence to support it. So every time somebody gets mad or angry at me, I look around and say, yeah, I did this or I didn't do this, so I caused them to be angry. And now it begins to seem like that's reality, that I control other people's emotions and they control my emotions. Now, I never really consciously think about it and consider it. It's a conditioned response. So things happen, and based on what I've been conditioned, so this happens and boom, automatically I feel sad. This happens and boom, all of a sudden I'm angry. And then what we do is we learn to behave in certain ways when we feel those emotions to give us the outcomes that we want. And so we create this whole complicated pattern that's all in the subconscious that we're not even aware of, and we get triggered. So an event happens, boom, we go right to the emotion, we go to a behavior, and the behavior elicits a response that we want to help us feel better. And what it really does is it creates in us this sense of being in control, which really is kind of sick, because what we do is we gain control by being out of control. So we give away our control to external triggers, and we feel an emotion and we'll go to blame, right? So I feel this way because of you, and it may be that I don't like what you're doing. So instead of just being honest and upfront with you and telling you how I choose to feel because of what you did, I'm going to go through this more complicated process of feeling an emotion that is going to influence you to feel responsible for my emotion, with the hope that this emotion is going to cause you to change. Wow, no wonder we struggle with honesty with ourselves and with relationships. We don't even know oftentimes when we're being dishonest with ourselves. So most of the time, because we're on autopilot, whenever we feel an emotion, it's because we were triggered. That's an emotional trigger, is anything that happens in our life that causes us to feel a certain emotion. What I would hope that you could take from this today is to realize that there's really no such thing as an external trigger. There are just external things that happen. There are events, people, there are places, there are words, there are songs, there are smells. All of those things happen around us in our life all of those times. All of those things are triggers. But what it really is, it's a trigger to an internal trigger, which is a thought. So it's my thought about these events that create the emotion. Now again, emotions just are. They're not good or bad, so it's okay. It's normal and natural to feel emotions. Where we get into trouble is when we want to blame our emotions on someone or something else so that we don't have to take accountability or responsibility in an effort to control someone else instead of controlling ourselves. So begin to look at your emotions and when you're triggered, and begin to try to identify, well, what are the thoughts that I have about this trigger? What's the emotion that it creates? Why do I go to that emotion? How do I behave when I'm experiencing that emotion? And what's the outcome that it gives me? And if I can then decide to take accountability for my emotions and to recognize that I'm choosing this, so I want to feel sad, or I want to feel mad, or I want to feel depressed. Again, then ask myself, why? What is it that gives me? if I can find a healthy way to get what I want, so to change that feeling or that state of depression, to change feeling like somebody else is irritating or annoying me. So to get out of that place of where I'm really giving away my control, to empower myself to take the control back, to say I'm choosing this emotion and it's because I don't like this or I want this, and then to find healthy, accountable ways to go out and either ask for or behave in ways that will give me the outcome that I want, which really is happiness. And as we do this, watch and see what happens in your life. Watch and see how you begin to feel more empowered and more in control. And watch and see what happens to your relationships. See if you don't begin to develop more trust, peace, happiness, joy, and openness in your relationships. Thanks for watching. I'd really like to know what you think about this video. Comment below, and if you want to know more about who we are and what we're doing, visit our website at principlebasedliving.com.